How can you double your net worth over the United States median with one simple change in real estate? When we started the show, we talked briefly about some graduations. It's graduation season. I've seen, if you're on Facebook, you've seen all the people I had a college grad this year. A lot of, we'll have high school grads coming up. So it's that time of year. And as I was listening to one of the speeches this past weekend, one of the things mentioned was how many baby boomers are retiring in our country each month. Do you have any idea what that number would be?
And this is national, right?
This is national. Yeah.
I'm going to say 5,000.
Okay. So here's the thing. Here's the shocker. The number given was 10,000.
Oh.
But then the speaker tricked us, just like I just tricked you as well. But 10,000, that was not the monthly number. That is the daily number.
Oh.
10,000 baby boomers a day retiring. So before I came to do the radio show, because this really got my brain going, I started doing all of this research because that was a little bit of a shocking number. And so I immediately am like fact checking this on my phone. And also I thought, is really this super amazing speaker going to give I don't even know why I was fact checking on my phone. I was like, is this speaker going to give a statistic like this in front of a graduating class and not know the right answer? But I still I couldn't help it. That's the AI that we live in, right? Like I'm like, no freaking way. He misspoke just at this. Sure enough, it's $10,000. So they call it, and I've talked a little bit about it on the show before, but they call it the silver tsunami. So that's the take on it. So then I was like, okay, I got to go down this rabbit hole a little bit further and see how we're relating this to housing and what's happening with housing. Because at the same time, I start to see other articles, and we've done a show on this before about how boomers are helping their children buy houses because housing is so far out of reach of some of the millennials and after them the Gen Z. And so then I was like, okay, so we've got a lot of wealth locked up in real estate with boomers. But now all of the boomers are going to be retiring. So how long does this silver tsunami last? So it actually lasts for 4 more years. And the point that the speaker was making at graduation was, if you don't have a job right now after graduation, you're not looking hard enough. It was the point of the speaker. He got kind of after the class, like pretty hardcore. And so then I was like, well, okay, this is going to unlock a bunch of housing. So if we look into housing, we'll have the last big wave of the boomers in 2030, retiring, retirement age. Then usually what we see happen in the real estate industry is it takes somebody 4 or 5 years to realize that their lifestyle has changed now in retirement. And they don't need a 6-bedroom, 7-bath house that they've had that was filled with kids and their families and hosting events for all of these people. And so then we generally see people make a downsize move in that situation. Well, I don't see a lot changing that in the next 4 or 5 years. But then what's likely to happen is from about 2031 to 2037, we're going to see millions of these legacy boomer houses start to come on the market. So then I take it a step further. I'm always relating these things to people I'm helping in the business. I just helped one of my investors from the property management side of our business. It was really, really interesting. And what they had done is about 20 years ago, they went and they bought, there was a new regional builder in town. It was Aho Homes. And they were the first really true regional builder to come to Tri-Cities in the late 90s, early 2000s as they were building a lot. And if you go back to that time period and you look, some of you will remember the billboards that were out on the freeway, and the big thing was $99,999. That was the billboard that was up there for a couple of years. And so I had an investor back then that now was a little bit extreme and cashed out some retirement and said, you know what? I want to own, I'm going to go buy 10 of those.
Ooh.
I'm going to take $1 million, leverage my retirement, and I'm going to buy 10 of those houses. And then they built a portfolio, a smaller portfolio. That's large for a lot of people, but for an institutional investor, a little bit smaller. And so they bought 10 of those houses and they kept them. So brand new construction. So they didn't have a lot of maintenance costs the first couple of years. And they kept those until just last year. And they came and said, okay, this was my plan. Those houses are all paid off. Now I need to, I'm fully coming into retirement. And now I need to sell that portfolio. And so we've spent the last 8 months going through as leases would expire and selling those homes for this investor. And so it got me thinking because, you know, their equity position changed a lot. They bought those for $99,000. We're not selling them right now for $99,000. I can tell you that much. It pretty simple math. You can go and look what 3-bed, 2-bath West Pasco. I mean, let's just use an average number of $400,000 in that case. That changes things dramatically. And so it was really, really cool to be able to watch somebody go full circle with a portfolio like that. Were there struggles along the way? Absolutely. Did they have a couple tenants destroy some of the houses on turnovers and remodel? Absolutely. Like there's things that you had to do, but this point was to see it through to fruition and see somebody capitalize on that was just an awesome thing. It was one of the highlights of the first half of the year for me to see this happen and make these people's dreams come true with this. The flip side of that is I've always gone back and I've always told people on a very basic level, I want everyone to own at least 2 houses. That's always been my mantra in the business of how many people's lives could I change if the majority of our clients or customers end up owning 2 homes. And here's what I say about that is that in general, if you go and look at household net worth in the United States, the typical American household at retirement age has a net worth of $410,000. That's the median. It's not enough. Okay. I mean, that's the median.
Yeah.
And so net worth is a combination of equity in their home and retirement stocks as well. Now, if you look at average, people are going to be like, Lance, that can't be true. Notice I used median so that we could see, because in the United States, if you use average, that number goes to 1.8 million, but that is because the ultra wealthies at the top skew that average dramatically. Yeah. So if we look at median for these purposes and someone has a house that they can pay off, like my investor just did, it's just, he did it with 10. I'm only suggesting that you do it with 2 houses. Your real estate holdings, your primary residence ends up being a significant source of your household net worth. And so if we look at where the median in the United States is $410,000, it's likely not enough to retire on, but people, add in Social Security and add in other things. Now, the next generation, I think, should be very, very concerned about if there even is Social Security for you in that situation. So if that thought has ever crossed your mind, one way to hedge your bets about that would be to double up on your property holdings. So I call this a lot of times the accidental landlord. We manage a lot of properties for what I call accidental landlords. And so what I mean by that is someone comes to us and they say, I've got this property that I bought from 2015 to 2021 and I refied when the rates were low. So I have this amazing 3-bedroom, 2-bath Rambler. It's just too small for our family now, but I've got an interest rate on it of 2.9% and I only owe $180,000 on it. And they're like, so I'm going to upgrade to a bigger house, but I'm making decent money. I don't really need the equity out of that house. I'd like to rent it. Okay. And sometimes I'll ask people, have you thought about keeping it longer?
Yeah.
And so they'll, because sometimes people will sell it like they want the equity. They're kind of risk adverse. They don't want to have that. But I say, look at this as an option. What if you put a renter in that? For the next 15 years, you upgrade to your new house. You're able to cash flow that with your jobs that you're working right now. And then we fast forward 20 years from now. Let's say you put that on a 20-year mortgage instead of a 30. We fast forward 20 years from now. And if that house you had originally bought, let's say when you originally bought it, it was $375. Or if you did buy it from 16 to 21, it was probably only $230. Now you only owe, $190,000 on it. That house, if we fast forward 20 years, at a minimum, let's say with very conservative math, that house is now going to be paid off and likely worth $500,000.
Ooh.
Okay. And then the one you bought that you upgraded to for $500 or $525, you were able to cash flow that from your job. And now that house is probably worth $750. If we go 20 years from now. So now you've got, with simple math, you've got 2 paid off houses. Even if you put no money in the stock market, you've got 2 paid off houses worth approximately $1.25 million. And I just told you that right now, that average net worth is around $410,000. Okay, so we've approximately tripled what the average is.
Wow.
And if you now need access to that cash for healthcare, living expenses, retirement, whatever that case may be, and you're not quite ready to sell your bigger house, you can always get rid of that single family house. You could sell that to get access to that cash. And so what happens is a lot of people, I should say, the reason why I think this is in the United States is a lot of people don't have the discipline to put that money into a savings account. Because the argument on this, and I really think you should do both if possible, but the argument on this is like, well, Lance, I can just put $300 a month into my 401k, and it will, make the same amount, as this real estate investment. Well, you could, but what I've seen happen time and time again, and what the statistics show in the United States, you could do that, but you don't.
Yeah.
Where if you have that and you turn that asset over to us, which a lot of people do, is they just say, hey, out of sight, out of mind, Lance, I want your property management company to manage this. Just send me my checks to pay the mortgage. You guys handle all the headaches.
Yeah.
And out of sight, out of mind, I found that we will go 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and they've gained a massive stake of equity in that house. And the ones like the one I talked about at the beginning of the show, they went 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And with professional property management, your net will be a little bit less, but you will consistently be making progress on the mortgage, paying it off, so that at year 20, that thing's paid off and you have a paid off asset. You can take the monthly cash flow to supplement your income, or you can sell and take the lump sum to, travel, buy a condo, whatever that case may be. So I'm always on a mission with people in that situation to just say, the statistics in the United States are horrible for that amount. And if we can institute a little bit of forced savings, I tell people a lot of times it's forced savings.
Yeah.
If we can institute a little bit of that forced savings, I think all of my clients that do this are absolutely ecstatic when we get to that 20 year mark. I mean, they come to escrow with just big freaking smiles on their face. And they're like, yeah, Lance, it sucked when you would call me and say, hey, we need to put carpet in. And that was, a $4,000 expense. And yeah, some of those months we didn't cash flow as good as we did. But I can tell you there's no way I would have saved or put into my 401k this $400,000. So I can't thank you enough. And I've been able to see that now from beginning to end with a number of clients. And once you see that successfully happen a few times, you become very, very passionate about making sure more people do that. So today's topic for me was just, kind of spurred on by one of those graduation speeches. A lot of these boomers that are retiring bought these properties when they were very, very young. So they found a way to do it, no matter, beg, steal, borrow in that situation, work. No matter how they did it, they now have those equity positions to where they're able to do a lot of things longer. And honestly, what I'm concerned about in these situations is I think it's going to take more money than we can anticipate, because the advances that are happening with technology and healthcare right now, on top of everything else, we're living longer.
Yes.
Some of us are.
Yeah, some of us are.
I will say
some of us just feel
there
longer.
are some issues, but in general, we have the ability to live longer. So I think you're going to need more than you think in those situations. So,
yeah, it's not medieval.
You made it to 40. You rock.
There's my soapbox. Those are my cliff notes from some very, very intelligent graduation speakers. If anybody needs help putting this plan together, go to kenmoreteam.com, come in, talk to our property management company. We're doing a number of consults over the last 3 or 4 weeks. We've probably done 8 of these for people that I call accidental landlords that want to keep their existing house as they move to take a job or move to a different house. kenmoreteam.com. We would love to help you double your net worth in the next 20 years.